Welcome back, fuckers. Alrighty, today in the F-18, we're again going back to basics. We're going to go through landing. Okay, how to land the F-18 on a airfield to start. Okay, so when you first get the Hornet, yes, I get it. You're going to want to try and land on the aircraft carrier, but you've got to master the basics. It's landing on an airfield that doesn't move, because an aircraft carrier is, it's moving. It's not a stationary thing, so it's going to make it a lot harder for you to land on if you don't know how to land in the first place. So what we're going to do is we're going to configure ourselves for landing. So we're going to set our radar up. Okay, so this is our alarm when we hit a certain altitude. We're going to drop that to 370-ish. Okay, we're going to confirm that our hook is up because we're not landing on aircraft carrier. We don't need the aircraft arrestor hook up. And down here, we're going to confirm that our hook is set to field, hook bypass. Okay, set to field. Anti-skid on. Lights as required, flaps are in auto, and that's pretty much us. Master arms off. So now we're going to go ahead and head on over to Batumi, and we're going to go into land. All right, and when we get there, we're going to go through a little thing that's kind of really super important, which is called flying on speed. Okay, on speed is a big thing in the Hornet if you want to get good at landing on aircraft carriers. Okay, on speed is definitely what you want. Just going to come around here. It's a beautiful day. Look at the reflections, the clouds, looking lovely. All right, let's get a sweet cinematic. Beautiful. Alright, so Batumi should be just on the other side, on the left side of this river here. That's where we took off. So we're just going to head on over that way. We're not going to worry about navigating or anything that stuff. We're just going to go through how to land. Okay, just doing a good old straight in. So what we need to do, we're just going to turn away so we don't have the sun blinding us here. We'll just chop the throttles to idle and bring my controls up. So to bring up your controls, your flight controls, press right control and enter. And it will bring up this little guy down in the bottom. Okay, and that's, you can see what I'm doing with my controls. I'm going to go ahead and cover the buttons you're going to need to land. So let's go through that right now. Adjust controls. We're going to need gear, landing gear. We're going to need flaps to full and flaps to auto. So have those bound plus your gear. You're also going to need trim up, down, left, right is going to need to be set. Cage, uncage potentially. Okay, I'll go through what that does in a second. So cage, uncage. And our last one, speed brakes. Okay, speed brake in, extend, it is out, speed brake out, and retract, speed brake back in. Okay, have those bound as well to something so you can slow down. We're just going to cruise around just away from the sun so you can see the HUD. It doesn't get blinded here. All right, so what we're looking for when you want to land the Hornet. Gear comes down at 250 knots, no faster. So you want to slow down to at least 250 before you put your landing gear and your flaps down. Okay, so we're slowing down here. Slowly. As soon as we hit 250, we're going to go ahead and press G on the keyboard. It's going to drop our gear. And our flaps are going to come down. You can see, there we go, gear and flaps are coming down. There we go. All right, so now what we've got here is our E-bracket. So I'm just going to go ahead and active pause up. Okay, so we're just frozen. We're sitting in space here. So we're going to quickly cover this because this is super important. So this E-bracket, okay, if you hear people talking about you've got to trim your velocity vector to your E-bracket to fly on speed, what the hell does all that mean? Pretty important. Okay, pretty important. So airspeed, as soon as you put your gear down in the Hornet, you're not looking at this anymore. Okay, don't worry about airspeed. There's no such thing as an airspeed to land in the Hornet. Okay, your computer is going to determine the airspeed based off your angle of attack. So our job now is to bring this velocity vector into the E-bracket. So at the moment our velocity vector is underneath, so we need to press nose trim up. So we're going to press nose trim up, and that velocity vector is going to start coming up into the E-bracket. And just tap it until you get this line here. That is in line with that, okay, on the E-bracket. Once you've done that, this is where it gets funky, Okay. Down once I've trimmed the aircraft to on speed. If I want to make the nose come up, I'm going to use my throttle. Okay, throttles. I'm going to put power on the jet, so I'm going to increase the power, the engine RPM, and that's going to make my nose increase. If I want my nose to come down, I'm going to reduce the throttles. I'm going to drop the throttles. Okay, and that's going to bring my nose down. So when you're flying on speed, you use the throttles to control nose position up and down, and you use your stick to control left and right. Okay, so joystick controls left and right, throttle controls nose up, nose down. And why this is tricky is because you have to kind of preempt what your aircraft's going to do, because there's a delay. Okay, there's a delay when you do this. So we're going to go ahead and unpause now. So I'm just getting ourselves on. We're just going to go ahead and press. I'm just hitting altitude. Tapping nose up, nose up, nose up. So I'm just trimming my velocity vector into the E bracket. All right, so there we go. We're pretty good. So now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use, if I want my nose to come up, I'm going to put the power on the jet. So see, I'm applying power to the aircraft. And because we are heavy, we need to give it a bit of power. You can see our nose is starting to come up. I'm not using the stick. You can see down here, the stick is not moving at all. I'm just using my throttles to control pitch. So as you get close to the horizon line, you just chop the throttle, and you always want to be moving it. Okay, so the throttle's always doing stuff. You don't just leave the throttle on one setting. Just always be moving the throttle. So you want more nose up, in you come. Okay, nose up, throttle on, doing your thing. So if I want to go climb, put more power on. Nose comes up. If I want the nose to drop, chop the power, and then the aircraft starts to descend. But you got to like preempt it. So you got to think about, all right, I want it to stop on the horizon line, so I've got to put power back on before it goes past it. Otherwise you start shooting, doing the old the yo-yo, up and down, up and down, up and down. So that is super important. And the difference with the this switch here, your hook bypass, if it's in field, your AOA indexer will be like that. Okay, so this is our AOA indexer. So we're looking, that means we're on speed. So if your HUD was dead, you can still land by using this. Okay, if you took battle damage and your HUD was actually shot out, wasn't working, you can still use this to land. All right, so that green, the orange circle equals on speed. And then if I pull up, we get the green, so we're too slow. And then if I push nose forward, we get the red, which means we're too fast. And that slow and fast refers to your angle of attack. Which you can see from the side there, we are roughly, it's pretty much 8 degrees nose up. And the reason for that is it tries to put the aircraft angle of attack at the optimum angle, so that when you put your arrestor hook down, right, there she is. It gives the arrestor hook the best chance of hitting the wire. Right, so that is why we trimmed it on speed, so that you catch the wire when you land on the carrier. So now you can see that it's flashing now because we had the hook. The hook was down, it was flashing at us. Once our hook goes up, this is going to turn off. It should do anyway. Because we're in carrier. There we go. Field. Actually, is that... Wait. That's a new thing? Huh. That is new. That is cool. So it automatically puts it in carrier for you. Wow, that's handy. Because what happens if you are landing on the carrier, it doesn't even let you stay in field anymore. Interesting. Okay. That's cool. That's smart. So say we put our hook up. So what it used to do is, if this is flashing at you, it means that your aircraft isn't configured correctly for landing in relation to this switch. So if we had if we were landing on the aircraft carrier and it's flashing at us, it means that our arrestor hook isn't down. Okay, our arrestor hook is not down if this is flashing. And if you're trying to land on an aircraft carrier, you need your arrestor hook. So confirm that if you are landing on a carrier, make sure it's in carrier mode, and then you see that flashing, that's an alarm bell to go, hey, put your hook down. You got to, and then once the hook goes down, it'll go solid. So we're going to be landing on field. So we're going to go ahead now and go gear up, flaps up, and we're going to head on over to Batumi and land. Just going to do a good old straight in. No fancy brakes or anything like this. And this is good just to practice. Okay, just line yourself up on the airfield and just come in from ages away and just practice landing on speed. Alright, give yourself plenty of room. No stress, no pressure. It's the better and easier you find landing on speed, the more quickly you're going to have of picking up carrier landings. Alright, so we're just going to cruise on in. Again, Batumi, we're looking, there's the river. Batumi is just there. Just going to fly on over. Come over to the right a touch. And we'll just come in on a straight in and just land at Batumi. So we're pretty heavy. We've got 14,900 pound of fuel on board. So this might be a bit sketchy on the landing. We'll see how we go. See how we go. Because ideally you want to land, if you're going to land on an aircraft carrier, okay, your aircraft weight, you want to be under 33,000 pound of aircraft. So we are way overweight for landing on an aircraft carrier. I'm not sure what the weight is for landing on an actual airfield, but the heavier you are, the longer and faster you roll. All right, so if it's a short airfield, you want to obviously be as light as you possibly can. So just get that back up there. Alright, so we're going to chop the throttles. We're going to put the speed brake out. You can see the speed brake coming out there in the mirror there. Speed brake is out. And you can also hear it. Alright, and you also get a light there indicating speed brake is out. So we're slowing down. There's the airfield Batumi. Slowing down, throttles are in idle. And we're just going to roll in nice and easy. Get ourselves lined up pretty much straight behind the airfield. As soon as we hit 250 knots, we're going to put our gear down, flaps down to full, and then we're just going to fly on speed and land. Okay, just using exactly what we went through before. Pitch for throttle, or throttle for pitch, sorry, and then stick is for roll. So there's our 250, gears coming down, flaps are coming down. So as soon as our gear and flaps come down, your nose is going to automatically pitch up because you are flying and your flaps have come down and given you more lift. Okay, so just be aware of that. You will pitch up, and the lighter your aircraft is, the more aggressive the pitch up is going to be. So now I'm just tapping nose trim up. Still throttles at idle. Not using any throttles whatsoever. Just tapping. There we go. So now we're on speed. We're going to just use our throttle. You can see the bottom left. You can see my controls. And all I'm looking for is I'm putting my velocity vector on the tire marks of the airfield. That's all I'm looking for. Alright, you want to be about, so there's your 5 degrees nose down. You want to be about 3 to 4 degrees nose down. And you just control all this with your throttle. So it's going to calm to the left a little bit more, and then as soon as we get on center line, we're going to roll out to the right. A bit more power. Get our nose to come up in line with the black marks there where the tires land. Chop the throttle a touch. So I'm just using the throttle control my nose position and the stick, little stick inputs to keep me straight and level, wings level. And there we go. So we're just going to keep our velocity vector on that black the tire marks of the airfield. Looking at about 3 to 4 degrees. Landing, descent rate, and just tapping the throttles. There goes our rudder. We just hit 370 feet, which is important when you are coming in to land on the carrier. So we are super heavy here. We're doing 160 knots. So I don't think we're going to pull up in time, but we'll see. So we're just going to slam in here because it is a carrier aircraft. Chop the throttles. Brakes on. Now we're probably going to shoot off the end here. because we are super heavy and this is a short runway. So we just got the brakes on here. We are tapping, 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 slowing down. Yeah, we're going to go long. We're going to go long. Ooh, we might pull up. Anti-skid's doing its job. Slow down. Alright, we're safe. We're safe. Got on it. Whew. Alright. And then once you get below 48 knots, your HUD will actually just be stuck at 48 knots. And then I wouldn't try and start using your rudder pedals to steer until you get slow, otherwise you will flip your jet. And then you just taxi off the airfield. And you have successfully landed the F-18 Hornet on an airfield. So set yourself up a mission, practice that. So start up, practice starting up your aircraft, give yourself a loadout, taxi out onto the airfield, take off, hook around, and just practice landing on speed. The quicker you pick that up, the easier it's going to be for you to land on aircraft carriers later on down the track once you start getting the hang of horneting. Alrighty guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you hit the like button, and if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button while you're at it. And lastly but not least, I do stream on Twitch Monday to Friday at 1300 Australian Western Standard Time. So if you haven't already, link is in the description below. So click the link, hit the follow button, give us a follow on Twitch as well, and you'll be notified when I am live. And you can come in and hang out and yeah, ask anything DCS related. Alrighty guys, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, thank you for hitting the like and subscribe, and I'll catch you fuckers on the next one. Peace.